Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshur-militam-mina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gaurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadaraye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad-bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Today's lesson, Vedanta-sutra. There might be three questions that can be asked. Can an unmarried woman be self-realized? Can a fallen sannyasi become a guru? Can a grihastha be a pure devotee? So we are third chapter, fourth part, 25th sutra. Ataeva shagnid danadi anapeksha. So the question here is to know whether the fire sacrifice and other rituals should be performed. The same question in Bhagavad Gita. And the same answer, that actually these rituals should be performed, but with the aim of giving atma-vidya, knowledge of the soul, not just mundane rituals without knowing and hoping to have good results. It also says that actually just performing rituals is not enough. You must develop qualities pertaining to your varna, for example. Like in Bhagavad Gita, it is said about a brahmana, Shamo damasta pashocham kshantir arjanama evacha Jnanam vijnanam astikyam brahmakarma svabhavajam. That the svabhava, the nature of the brahmana, is that he's always peaceful, controlled. He performs austerities, he is pure, he has tolerance, he is honest, he has knowledge, wisdom, religiousness. If a brahmana doesn't develop those qualities, he's not truly a brahmana, even though he may perform so many rituals. The same thing applies to a kshatriya. A kshatriya, he should have a lot of courage, heroism, always ready to protect and fight the enemy. But he should also have some qualities of self-control and peaceful and religious. And a Vaishya, he has those qualities of always accumulating money and protecting the cows, agriculture and business, but he should also have some qualities. Shudra, also same thing. Those qualities of the Shudra is that he's always self-satisfied, satisfied with his own position, whatever he gets as a service. Now, next sutra, Vihi tatvad ashrama karma hapi. Now the ashram-dharma should also be followed because they are ordered in a shastra. The shastra, the Vedas, teaching Devi Varnashram. In society, we have Asuric Varnashram. They are division of work, but this is only to make profit, only to exploit others, to compete, to make money, and get fame. This is not Devi, because there is no Deva that is worshipped, because Devi Varnashram should be centered around God and the worship of his devotees. And in modern society, there is no ashram. They are bachelors, but bachelors have sex with anybody. So these are not real bachelors. So this Devi Varnashram is not a goal in itself. It is not true that Srila Prabhupada's mission was to install Varnashram-dharma. He wanted to make a society where ultimately people would become conscious of God, conscious of Krishna. So Varnashram is helpful to increase brahma-vidya. This is Vedanta philosophy. And there are qualities also of different ashram. For example, brahmachari. The brahmachari, every morning, every evening, the brahmachari should bring whatever food, money and other items he has collected by begging to his spiritual master. And he should take food only when the spiritual master is telling him. He should take rest only when the spiritual master is telling him. He should meditate and chant his japa if his spiritual master is allowing. There is a saying, Kakasnaha baka dhyana swanidre alpa bhojana. that the brahmachari, he should take bath like a crow, kakasnana, because when you see a crow with his wing, he go in a puddle of water and he put just little water very quickly. This is how brahmachari should take bath, not to waste time, because he is in the service of his guru. Then baka dhyana. Baka means a crane. A crane meditates with one leg raised and one leg, and he's absorbing meditation. So it seems. But as soon as a fish is there, he catches it. So the brahmachari, he should not be completely absorbed in samadhi. He should be always ready, if his spiritual master is calling him, whatever he's doing, ready to obey the order. Shwanidra also, he sleeps like a dog. The dog seems to be sound asleep, but if there's a little noise, immediately he raises up, because he's there to watch. So the brahmachari should sleep like this. Alpa bhojana, eat very little. While walking, sleeping, sitting, taking rest, the brahmachari always wait with folded hands, ready to serve the guru. This is the duty and qualities of a brahmachari. Now a grihastha, he has to perform also some rituals. He has to take care of a family. He has to feed the guest and receive sadhu. So many duties also about the grihastha. And vanaprastha sannyas, they are completely renounced. Also, a neshtika brahmachari, someone who has taken a permanent vow of celibacy, is on the same level as vanaprastha sannyas. And those are the 4 ashrams, and we'll see what does it say about the duty also of sannyasi, renunciant, how they should behave. Next sutra 36 actually, 3.4.36, antara chapi tuta drishtehe. But transcendental knowledge, because this is the subject matter here in this third chapter, transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge of vidya can come also in those who are without ashram, nirashrami. So, normally someone should never be without ashram, either brahmachari or grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. And a woman, according to Manu Samhita, she should always be under the care of a man. A father when she's a little girl, then the husband when she's a young woman, and her oldest son when she's old. But here we have an example in the Upanishad, the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad. Gargi, she's a woman. She's a young woman, but she's not married. She's not under the care of any man. Not only this, but she speaks in public assembly and she leads the discussion. She says to all the brahmanas that are gathered, I will ask specific question to this Muni called Yajnavalkya, a great Muni in the Upanishad. I will ask him a specific question about Brahman, because she knows Brahman. And if he answers correctly those questions, no one will be able to defeat him. And so Yajnavalkya said, yes, Gargi, ask your question. And she asks and he answers. But here it is said that actually she is more advanced than Yajnavalkya, because she is on the stage of avadut. Avadut, even for a woman. This is the commentators of Vedanta who say, Baladev Vidyabhushana and Ramanujacharya and Shankaracharya, they say, she's on the stage of avadut. And Baladev, he says, nirapeksha devotee. There's 3 kinds of devotees. Svanishta, one who does his varna ashram perfectly. Parinishtita, he's self-realized. He still does his varna ashram, but only to teach the people. He doesn't need to. And nirapeksha has no duties. He's completely free. And so here it says that in Upanishad there are certain avadut. Shvetaketu, for example, or Durvasa Muni, Jad Bharat, Dattatreya, those are examples of avadut. They behave as little children, like if they have no knowledge. They have no tridanda, no kamandalu, no shika. They act sometimes as madmen. In our line, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's line, who have the 6 Goswami, they renounced everything. They were only kopin, those loincloth, and they ate very little. They slept very little under a different tree every night, and they were completely absorbed in Gopi Bhava. Same thing for Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, Jagannath Das Babaji, Bamshi Bhat Babaji. Those Babajis in our line were unaware of day and night, completely renounced naturally. So it is there, said here, Atastva Tvitaram Jayo Lingascha, Sutra 39. The Nirapeksha devotee or the Avaduta is better than a householder devotee who perform all the different duties. Gargi, the woman, unmarried woman, without ashram, she is better than Yajnavalkya. But then there's a warning. The next sutra is warning. If a sannyasi breaks his vow of celibacy, falls down, the question is, can he atone for this? And it is answered quite clearly. There is no atonement for breaking of the vow of celibacy. In other words, he falls down and he loses brahma-vidya in this life. This is very, very hard. This is very, very hard. But actually, only someone who is not enlightened can go back to worldly life. Someone who has not tasted the real bhakti. This is the point that Srila Baladev Vidyabhushana is making. If you have attained bhava bhakti, you cannot fall down. You cannot. And also, it should be understood that, for example, Srila Prabhupada gave sannyas to very young men, sometimes 20 years old. And of course, they couldn't keep up the vow because it was difficult. But it was totally different. Prabhupada, he had a specific mission. He said once to some of the sannyasis, I heard directly from this sannyasi, he said, we are at war with Maya, and so we need to have soldiers and people who are going to motivate the soldiers. So when there's a war, sometimes you appoint someone, some general captain, you make him a general so he can lead the people. So same thing. Srila Prabhupada, he will appoint one brahmachari as a sannyasi because he needed some person to take responsibility. So this is called battlefield commission. And Srila Prabhupada, he looked at those sannyasi and he said, most of you will fall down. You will be killed on that battlefield. But he said, this will be a glorious death. In other words, under the order of the spiritual master, even breaking sannyas can be glorious if you have obeyed the order of the spiritual master. Of course, you're not supposed to break the vow of sannyas. And also, because sannyas sometimes make the heart, very proud. Sometimes a sannyasi who is breaking his vow come as grihastha, he becomes more friendly. At least we can talk to him, he's not judgmental. This is my experience. Now, a fallen sannyasi who stay guru, become guru, he creates problems. So-called saints who proclaim to be self-realized but are still attached to fame, money and woman. Every year in India, many so-called gurus, pretenders, they are being caught with huge bank account, sexual misconduct, drug addiction, egotical power. They are being exposed. These false prophets who exploit their disciple emotionally, sexually, financially. They are creating great problems. And so it is better to accept where we stand, to be honest with oneself. All the grihastha to be condemned. are they only enjoying their senses? No, according to Shastra. Actually, a Grihastha can also be a pure devotee of the Lord. Once, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he gave a long lecture in Calcutta, and he said, the cardinal principle of Grihastha ashram is that no one may be the owner of any property or service of another. Everyone is only a servant of the Lord. Similarly, the sole object of everyone's service as the only master, only friend, only son, only consort is Krishna. Marrying and giving in marriage do not give any right either to the husband or to the wife to behave as master. Men and women are joined in wedlock for the purpose of serving each other in the performance of their joint service of Krishna. The wife is not an object of enjoyment of the husband, nor vice versa. They do not marry for gratifying their sensual pleasures. They marry for pleasing the Lord, not for pleasing themselves. They choose for partners only such persons who serve God better than themselves. They offer themselves to be accepted by their partners for the favor of being allowed to share in the superior service of Hari. Thus, neither the husband nor the wife claims the service of his or her partner on their own account. Both of them should offer their services if and when their partner is pleased to permit them to share that service. None of them can force their partner to serve them. This system of household discipline has its roots in the joint worship of the household deity by all members of the household. The reason why the Guru doesn't ordinarily ask any person to enter the state of Grihastha is that it is very rare to find anyone in this world who is willing to regard his wife or her husband as worthy of his or her unconditional services. This is, however, the only relationship between husband and wife that can be sanctioned by the Guru. So you see that even if you're a Grihastha ashram and you see your wife as Krishna's servant, and you choose a wife who is even more advanced than you for serving Krishna, then you are completely engaged in the service of Krishna. This has to be reconciled. All of this, all the ashrams are there so we can be absorbed in Krishna's service. This is also Vedanta philosophy. Thank you very much. Vanchakalpa tarubhyacha kripa sindhu bhyaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.